must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Today, Kenya is faced with a dilemma. A dilemma caused by succession politics of 2022. A country beaten by forces of peace, unity, against forces of impunity, bad politics, and tribal politics. The good forces of peace, unity, national reconciliation, led by President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, want to live a united, prosperous, one person, one nation, one country called Kenya. The bad forces led by Deputy President William Ruto want to live a divided, broken, damaged, dismembered Kenya without unity of purpose. Kenya today stands at cliffhanger politics. A cliffhanger politics of Machiavellian nature, where at night we praise the devils. During the daytime, we praise the leaders. We go back at night, damage the leadership. That's where Kenya is today. Whichever divide you are, there is only one way out. One way out of this quagmire is to stick to a redemption strategy. Any conflict resolution expert on this panel, like Professor Onyari, will tell you the only way out to save this nation from sinking to the another chaos is to bring out the 9 points of the BBI. All of you know the 9 points of BBI. They touch national ethos, national bad elections. It is a cocktail of disaster that the two leaders saw that it made them to shake hands and to bring it to the table. That for Kenya to conduct another election in this country without cleaning the national electoral mechanisms, the disaster will be worse than it was before. That for Kenya to go without national healing, reconciliation, accountability, restitution, reparation, truth-telling, forgiveness, we are staring at a disaster if we don't do a reconciliation now and never. It is now and never. Embarking on an early campaign has brought us to where we are. President Uhuru Kenyatta told people to concentrate on nation building. We abandoned the nation building ventures. We have gone on personal crusade ventures. We have gone on the same path where we believe we glorify corruption and glorify many things that are not glorifiable. It is sad, therefore, for my people of Kenya. It is also a call to the people of Kenya. Either they choose to go with the redemption strategy or they perish. The choice remains the choice of the people of Kenya. If you want to go with a redemption strategy of Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta of uniting this nation, that so be it. If you want to go with obsession of 2022 politics, even when there is no referee, and even when there is no competitor, yet the choice is yours. But at the end of the day, the citizens of this country are tired. If you don't see the fatigue that has come amongst the citizens who are being used as wheelbarrow pushers, who are being used as machines that will break in a day and you don't have any spare part to repair it, but it was done for PR, it is up to you. Do you empower people to push a wheelbarrow, or you empower people with knowledge? During this COVID-19, Rwanda, as a country that was besieged by the same disease that we see here, the disease of a creation of a hustler versus a dynasty. It is not different from the disease of a Tutsi versus a Hutu. You are not seeing what I'm seeing. Oh ye Kenyans, believe me, believe in me. You are not seeing what I'm seeing. You have created a narrative of a hustler versus a dynasty. It is like a Tutsi versus a Hutu versus a Tutsi. Look ye ahead. Look ye ahead in the horizon and see what is coming in 2022. It will be the battle of those that you want to eliminate against those who will be defending themselves. If you don't take my notes here, I will carry my dust. As the Bible said, go away with my dust. Because I see, from my vision, I can see we are on a wrong path. We have about to cross the red line. We are creating sections. We are fragmenting a state. We are dismembering a state. We are creating hurtling. Our train is hurtling towards one word. And that one word is conflict. That one word, my panel, is conflict. We better stop the train hurtling towards conflict and stop it now. Thank you.
to you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Mugutu, and as usual, we're coming to you from Kenya's capital here in Nairobi. A beautiful morning indeed, a bit chilly, but we love it that way. Thank you so much. Wherever you're watching us from, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are tuned in. Before I bring in my panelist, as usual, I'd like to bring us up to date with the latest figures in terms of COVID-19. And we start with Kenya, where now the cases are tops 139,842 cases. The death toll in the country so far is 2,258 cases. Recovery so far is 96,578. And then we go to Uganda, 41,023 cases that have been confirmed in Uganda. The death toll is 335. So far, recovery now stands at 40,452. And we go to Egypt, 206,510. The death toll is 12,253. Recoveries is 157,006. Zimbabwe cases 36,966. The death toll in Zimbabwe is 1,531. And recovery so far is 34,781. And I'll just keep the rest and go to the total figures in Africa this morning, where confirmed cases stands at 4,282,183. And the death toll is 114,000. No, Africa cases 4,282,183 cases, all right? And then the people who have since succumbed to COVID-19 in the continent are now standing at 114,122. Recovery so far is 3,848,885. So that is where we stand in Africa. And the global cases have surpassed 133 million cases. And the people who have since died from COVID-19 worldwide are now standing at 2,886,246. Global recoveries is 107,289,178. You have to stop there and realize this is not money we are counting. This is the number of people who have since died from COVID-19, and the statistics there are quite staggering. So thank you so much for joining me on the panel this morning. We do have Douglas Kirimi all the way from Meru County. Douglas, good morning. Okay, as we wait for Douglas there, we go to Jevan Karanja from Nanyuki. Jevan, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Miriam. Good morning to our viewers wherever they are watching us from. And good morning to my fellow panelists, Douglas Kirimi and Professor Jared Onyari and others who are joining. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. Nice to have you. And I see, is that Douglas? I think he's having a problem with his signal there. Douglas, good morning, if you can hear me. Okay, and then we do have Professor Jared Onyari, who I think is joining us. Professor.
Good morning to you, Miriam.
Okay, very well. Very well. So I'll just go through very quickly the news making headlines this morning as we, the rest of the panelists join us. And we start with the Star newspaper, where how public debt has ballooned in Uhuruto era. That is the main headline there on the Star newspaper. IMF approved 255 billion Kenya shillings facility that can be used for budget support. It is not a loan and has no interest. The story is on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. And just down there, day 6 gives way to day 7 of KCSE exam. Our KCSE exams are continuing there, and today they are in their day 7. And then just besides that, 15 Nairobi MCAs contracted coronavirus, and down there, musician detained for 10 days over death of a soldier. And then we turn on to the Standard newspaper, and the main headline on the Standard newspaper this morning is this: Raila's new alliance, a 6-hour talks, the presence of ODM leaders, allies at a Nairobi hotel meeting, which brought together former UNCTAD, boss Mokisa Kitui, governors and senior legislators sent tongues working on whether a new political alliance was in the making. And I see we have a photo of, That will be Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua, Charity Ngilu, Makueni Governor there, and then Anyang' Nyong'o, and then we have Kutus there, and then we do have Amason Kingi, Orengo, and Mukisa Kitui himself. So apparently they had a meeting. I don't know. We shall look at that. And just beside that, KNH suspends a surgery for lack of oxygen. That is the Kenyatta National Hospital. And then curtain falls on Mwendo Wakwa. Mwendo Wako Mariro singer, I think. I know that song, Douglas, don't laugh at me. I really know it. And then up there, Tanzanian President Suluhu makes about turn on COVID. See, this is something that made my day yesterday, and maybe we'll talk about it. Barely 3 weeks in office, President Samia Hassan is on a mission to chart her own political path. She has surprised many by seeking to change how Tanzania handles the COVID-19 pandemic and improve her government's relationship with the media. That is fantastic. I talked about it here yesterday in my afternoon show, but we shall look at it just now. And then Daily Nation revealed IMF conditions reforms in a statement announcing its executive board's approval of the new 257 billion Kenya shillings loan to Kenya. Lender spells out governance, conditionalities and timelines within the 3-year loan maturity and singles out 9 loss-making parastatals that will undergo major overhaul to stop bleeding the public purse. So is this the brighter side, the other side of the coin, that perhaps with these new conditions that IMF has given us with this loan that Kenyans, a lot of Kenyans have been making noise about in social media, can it see maybe better management on some of these parastatals? That is a conversation that we will have. And then on the side there, Ruto's big gamble, and up there, Suluhu opens media space, changes tune on COVID-19. And then just beside that story, search for the next Chief Justice. And so we shall look a bit of that. So anyway, let's start with the Daily Nation. Professor, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Miriam, and my fellow panelists and our viewers from wherever they are, whether they're evening or morning.
All right. Thank you so much. So let me just go straight to this story that has refused to go away, this loan that Kenya is getting from IMF. And we see some of these conditions that has been set and maybe how that might change our parastatals and how they are being run. The International Monetary Fund has demanded that all public servants declare their wealth, that the government makes public the ownership details of all companies that are awarded public tenders as a way of curbing rampant theft of tax fund. In a statement issued yesterday, the IMF announcing its executive board's approval of a new 257 billion Kenya shillings loan to Kenya also singled out 9 key loss-making parastatals that will be overhauled to stem bleeding in public finances. Let's just start with those two demands by IMF, even as they give us this this loan. That first, public servants declare their wealth. This is the lifestyle audit the President Uhuru Kenyatta had asked for a couple of years ago that really did not go very well with a section of our politicians. So IMF is saying now this has to happen with this new loan that we're giving Kenya. Professor, start us off.
Miriam, I have worked from 1990s during the structural adjustment programs, whereby World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, Miriam, they have become perfect to tell you what to do. If I were the reader, our reader in one of the African countries, Miriam, I would not listen to that. What I need to do is to do the right things for my country, Miriam. We correct our taxes, Miriam, which we are supposed to utilize, just like another country in the world, be it America, be it Japan, be it United Kingdom, Miriam, be it Norway. They correct taxes from their people, Miriam. They use them efficiently, Miriam. Do you really need International Monetary Fund, Miriam, to come and tell you declare your wealth, Miriam? Don't we have a law? Miriam, do you ask yourself what happens when those civil servants, Miriam, year in, year out, they fill those forms, Miriam? And remember, we have got a full-fledged commission, Miriam, and corruption. Lifestyle audit must start with me. What happened, Miriam? Surely. Are we really serious and committed to fight corruption? And Miriam, even the story you are talking about, the Kenyans who are annoyed Miriam. Let me tell you, I'm among the 200 Kenyans, and I've got no apologies to make. You may, all the panelists and other people, viewers, may be against those 200 Kenyans they have made a statement, Miriam, that the money which is being taken from, which we are borrowing, Miriam, does not benefit the people of Kenya. See the money which came for KEMSA, that someone works, Miriam, and he gets a tender of 200 million or 1 billion, Miriam, Kenyans, and we are not annoyed. And we are saying, oh, you just go and borrow. Miriam, for those of us who have done economics and who understand these things, Miriam, you can't go to the world, you borrow 1.2 trillion. What has that money done, Miriam? Do we see it? Miriam, if you see the report which the Auditor General has done to most of our counties, Miriam. So, Miriam, what is this, Miriam, here is? I think how the international community pressurized Moi and most African countries to accept multi-party democracy in Africa, Miriam, and other parts of the world. I think those are some of the sanctions, Miriam, that if you cannot do proper lifestyle audit, Miriam, if you cannot slay corruption, don't go for people. Because, Miriam, we are burdening the future generation to come and pay the money which did not build a road, Miriam. How many times we keep on talking about Kimurara and the government is listening, Miriam? 21 billion Kenyan, someone works with the money which we have borrowed, Miriam, which does not belong to the people of Kenya, Miriam. And imagine the courts are just there. They're just there, taking us around, Miriam. So on that, if IMF, Miriam, would mean that it has to tighten, Miriam, that, so that we do rival style audit, so be it. But if Jared Nyari was a president for the Republic of Kenya or any African countries, Miriam, I do not expect that the IMF should come and police of us. And Miriam, what you need to do? Musa will tell you, Miriam, Africa is being colonized. There's new colonizing which is going on, Miriam. What happened in the 19th century, Miriam, it was fiscal. But now you are being told that do this. If you don't do this, it's not going to happen, Miriam.
Okay.
Miriam, imagine someone else come and do rating for you to see whether you can borrow money. Oh, Miriam, no.
Well, if I'm going to lend you, so I sort of have a say in how you're going to spend that money. That is the unfortunate truth there, Professor, and I totally understand where you're coming from. Jevon Karanja, IMF is saying this money has been approved, but we are giving it to Kenya with a few conditions, and I'm just going through some of these conditions that has been outlined here. And it's very interesting because a lot of these things has to do with corruption and public management of public money, and a lot of it has been captured in the BBI, Prof, because one of these things of lifestyle audit, it is there in the BBI. So IMF is saying, you know what, as much as you have that, but these are our set conditions, and one of them is for public servants to declare their wealth, and that the government makes public the ownership details of all the companies that are awarded public tenders as a way of curbing a rampant theft of taxpayers' fund. Is this even likely to happen, Jevon?
Miriam, in this country, we have laws, but nobody cares to implement. Nobody cares to make sure that they are followed to the letter. When you look at the issues of corruption in this country, when President Uhuru Kenyatta pronounced himself that he is willing to take a lifestyle audit to lead as an example so that others follow, people came out, a lot of noise. And I think President Uhuru Kenyatta maybe felt like there's no need to carry out the process because the noise that came started going back to 1963, pre-independence and post-independence kind of corruption and so on. Therefore, I think it's difficult to deal with corruption in this country when we have politicians and leaders who don't have the political goodwill to ensure that as a country we fight this monster wholesomely. Number two, Miriam, is the issue of us, the electorates, us, the voters who vote these bad leaders, who vote these corrupt leaders, expecting good results, Miriam. You can't, Miriam, have a hyena shepherd your sheep and you expect that you'll have the same number at the evening. One or two will be missing. That is how we are doing things in this country. We give people who can't be trusted with their own private lives to manage our public affairs. That is where we go wrong. Therefore, even these conditions that IMF is giving, Miriam, I don't see them being followed. And in the fullness of time, Miriam, you'll see they give the money will disappear, and nobody will care to follow. And what they do some small, I don't know, I will not call them stage managed kind of events where they run to courts, they take 2 people to courts, then after 3 days, these people are set free. To some extent, you feel like these are stage managed kind of events to create a public perception that something is being done. But in reality, Miriam, nothing is being done. And it's high time that all bodies that are in charge to fight corruption comes in board, and we fight this monster wholesomely without taking sides. You know the problem in this country now, if corruption is in 2013, 2017, you could see the opposition led by ODM party leader Raila Odinga. They were making a lot of noise that, we have corruption in these and these sectors, and when the handshake came, they muted. Now we have the Tanga guys. Every time they are taken aligned to a court of law due to corruption, allied cases and scandals, they say that the government is victimizing us because we support the deputy president. Therefore, at the end of the day, this is a circular kind of a movement where everybody, when they are victims of corruption, they have a political way to escape. It is high time that we have Kenyans and we seal these loopholes, especially the political getaways with corruption, so that we punish these politicians. And Miriam, if that happens, you'll see it trickling down even to private entities, even to individuals' life, because most of things that happen in this country, they are set by our leaders and to some extent by our political players.
Thank you, Javen. Now, these conditions spells out governance conditionalities and timelines that the government must meet within the 3-year loan maturity. Key pillars of the agenda include the promotion of fiscal transparency via publishing procurement information, including beneficial ownership data of companies awarded contracts, operationalizing the Access to Information Act, review of the current legal framework for asset declarations of senior public officials, and conflict of interest rules. And given the corruption is inextricably intertwined with the need to launder its proceeds, an effective implementation of AML CFT, that is the anti-money laundering measures, states that that is part of what the IMF are. Part of the document and the conditions that the IMF set for Kenya to get these loans. So these are things that we've seen even after seeing the scandal at KEMSA, President Uhuru Kenyatta coming out and saying now we need all this public procurement, especially in these government institutions, be made public. So what IMF is asking here is not new. We've heard President Kenyatta say we've seen it. It is part in the PBI there. So 2 things. Will it make it easier now for perhaps President Uhuru Kenyatta to say, you know what, okay, we're having this loan and this is the condition, so there's no any other way, so we have to make sure that we check on our governance and our public spending, so we are going to implement some of these things? Or 2, will it test President Uhuru Kenyatta's commitment to the fight against corruption in the country? Douglas.
Miriam, thank you for having me on the show. One thing we need to be able to understand is that there's nothing that IMF does that is in isolation. IMF does not gauge the issue of issuing loans based on the emotions or whims and the qualms of the people of Kenya. IMF is an institution that does their due diligence on a country, and also they give you a loan that you can be able to pay. They give you a loan that a country can be able to service. And actually, when these people, the people of Kenya, sign a petition to the IMF, it shows you something that I call economic emotions. You cannot be able to dictate the economy of a country using emotions. And most of these people are just wiping emotions in the country. And when these structural changes are introduced, especially in the management of the loans and also the economy by the IMF in this country, It shows us how we are to be able
All right,
to do
Douglas.
our stuff.
Douglas, we are
IMF
having
was
a
here
problem.
in late 1990s. I was a
Douglas,
kid,
we
but I
are
read
having a
that thing
problem. We are having a
in
problem.
in school.
Douglas, we're having a problem with the reception. Okay, he cannot get me clearly, but once Douglas has fixed his connection there, then I shall get back to him. In the meantime, I think I'll just move over to Shera, who's joining us from Kiambu. Shera, very good morning to you.
Good morning to you and fellow panels. So I think
Could you, Washera,
IMF
please, if you don't mind, could you fix your headroom, please? We need we have too much space up there so that you're able to balance out. Thank you.
That
That is good. That is fantastic. So now these conditions that has been set by IMF, in order of they have okayed this loan to Kenya, but they're saying now we have to check on our governance. They've given us what they call governance conditionalities. So will this be a test for President Uhuru Kenyatta on his commitment? Because we know he has expressed his frustration over corruption, and one day he came out and said, you know what? 2 billion is lost every day in this country, and a lot of Kenyans were using this as an evidence to IMF as to why you need to give us this loan. But now will it test his commitment in the fight against corruption? And we know he has even in the past asked for a lifestyle audit, which seems to be what his IMF is asking here, that did not go well with the political class. But is it time maybe his commitment to corruption, fight against corruption, be tested in these conditions that have been laid out by IMF?
Yes. Thank you very much. I think to answer your question, I think it's really going to test his commitment to fight corruption. Also, as a Kenyan, as a legitimate Kenyan, I would like to say there's nobody who can reject any type of help. We're not saying that IMF is doing a wrong thing to helping us. We're just complaining that this has been here before, yet again. And the fact that Professor Jared said it's like a mental colonization. I don't see why a whole body should come into your country and start monitoring what your government bodies, like the public servants, should act right for them to help us, or if it's like they're trying to see if they should help us. It's so embarrassing as a whole country that we have to be. It's like being given a loan, or it is a loan. I don't understand why. It's embarrassing. That's what Kenyans are actually trying to say. We are embarrassed as a country that our leaders have to be monitored. It's very, very embarrassing, and that's why most of the youth are fighting to have seats in the government, because they think they can do the change. But it's not that easy. We should also respect the people in the seats right now, because if you were given the same position, you would not. Maybe it would be worse for you even. So yeah. Also, it's a very
you're saying these rules that have been set out, or these requirements by IMF, let me call them requirements towards the Kenyan government. Yeah. You're saying they are doing what? It's embarrassing to our leadership that somebody's telling you how to act and how to govern. But if you're going to come to me and borrow, and I'm giving you this much amount of money, surely I do have a say, don't you think so?
Yes, of course they do have a say, and it's a very red flag. It's a very big red flag for youth. As in, why can't they just it's good to know where your money is gonna be put to work. It's very, very right, but we are complaining because we've been here before. It's not the first loan that Kenya is taking. This is I can't even. I can't count anymore. It's not the first time, and we haven't seen where the money has gone. You understand? Of course, it has been little by little. It has been shared around, but that is
when you mean shared around. I mean, we've seen roads being built. We've seen some infrastructure development. Yeah. So we can see part of that money where it has gone. But also the issue is there's been a lot of public, stealing of public money. So that is an issue that we cannot run away. But we can see what a lot of this money is doing. I think infrastructure.
Yes, of course. No. I'm not saying that it has not done anything. I'm just saying they're giving a lame excuse. They'll give any excuse to give this loan, because they're like, should we give you this loan? It's too much money. Yes, we're going to give it to you because I want it back with interest. But let me give a lame excuse to give it.
Okay, thank you. And indeed, it is too much money, 257 million
Yeah.
Kenya shillings. Musa Abdi.
Yeah, thank you, Miriam. And I will not say it's an embarrassment, first of all. Miriam, in political economy, the Bretton Woods institutions, Miriam, which was formed back in the way 1945, and when it was formed, Miriam, it was formed with the core purpose of ensuring the issue of monetary allocations, Miriam, and issues of, helping developing countries were put in place. Actually, it was formed first as a way of mitigating the Second World War. You remember the Marshall Plan, which the likes of Harry Truman brought in place. But then its role expanded, Miriam. And let me tell you one thing. I don't know who is advising President Uhuru Kenyatta or who is advising Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There is nothing like requirement, Miriam. There is what we call conditionalities. These are global North institutions, Miriam. Bretton Woods institutions, IMF, World Bank. These are people with their money. So they come with their conditionalities, Miriam. And what I call, and Professor Onyari even reiterated, is neocolonialism, Miriam. Mental torture of a third world country in the name of conditionalities. Sooner or later, this Christian country or a Muslim or a secular, a diverse country religiously, is going to accept LGBT and is going to accept gays and lesbians laws very quickly, not because of anything. Because you are subjected to an international pressure, Miriam. If you are not going to do one or two, the conditionalities of these laws is not going to stand. And that is what Professor Onyari called structural adjustment program. Actually, multipartism, liberation, coups you saw in Senegal, West Africa, Miriam, and Southern Africa, was as a result of this international pressure in the name of conditionalities. So, Miriam, there is nothing as lame excuse as someone telling me, but these monies are being put in place. But these monies, we are seeing roads. Miriam, the money we are seeing is that the road being built is 3-lane highway. And if the money could have been put in a good use, it could have been 10 or 8 lanes highway, Miriam. Secondly, I could say, Miriam, today, climate change, the locust you've seen, Miriam, the locust invention and the issue of food security you could have seen. Then I could have seen, Miriam, if indeed this money is being put in a good use, I could have seen the big four agenda of manufacturing and housing, Miriam. Kenya Meat Commission in Isiolo, the tannery in Isiolo could have been built, Miriam, and expanded. That is what we are speaking of. It's all about aligning the loan someone has taken with the government agenda in place. And is that happening? And Miriam, I will fully support the plights of 200,000 Kenyans who have gone online, Miriam. And it's a sense of frustration. Let me not lie to you, Miriam. It's a frustration seeing the few 10% of this country determining the future of the larger 90% of this country. We are living in a world whereby looting has become a norm, Miriam. Japan's debt percentage is 237% of its GDP, meaning Japan has borrowed 237% more than its GDP. But what you are seeing in Japan is magnetic railway. What you are seeing is Japan, they are holding their 2021 Olympics. What you are seeing in Japan, the level of happiness, that is, gross domestic happiness, Miriam, as far as, employment, depression, issues of health, education is concerned, they are not in the same world with us. So borrowing is not the problem. The problem is putting that borrowing into good perspective, Miriam.
All right.
And that is the reason why, instead of lying to yourself, why can't you be like Fidel Castro of Cuba? If Fidel Castro of Cuba said, even if I'm going to build you 200 meters of road, just know that is your taxpayers' money, instead of me relying on United States of America or Bretton Woods institution, Miriam. That is what we call sustainable development. And that is the reason why Cuba now is the shining light of a third world country as we are speaking. Cuba has recruited enough doctors to a level that now they are exporting their manpower, Miriam, to the likes of a country like Kenya, to the likes of the country like United States of America. We are speaking about how can you sustain the loans. And Miriam finally submitting. The problem is not borrowing the loans. The problem is the servicing rate of the loan. Do you know, Miriam, Kenya is servicing the loan they are borrowing at a tune of 1.5 trillion, Miriam? Per loan that is servicing. That is how you are being exploited. But go to Tanzania, Magufuli said the highest you are going to service my loan debt is going to be 135 billion. And that is the reason why we are seeing now we are being forced to hike our fuel prices. We are being forced to hike our food. We are being forced to hike our electricity, Miriam. And those are some of the things we are seeing for ourselves. Okay. So it's a frustration, Miriam.
All right. Thank you so much. And they've not hiked the electricity yet, because it would have reflected on my bill. My bill is quite favorable right now. Or maybe they will.
Miriam,
I don't know.
We are speaking.
Yes.
As we are speaking, Miriam, last month, 100 shillings of Kenyan, 100 Kenyan shilling can buy you, Miriam, 5 tokens of an electricity. But now it is down to 4.3. Okay. They're adding it. People not observing, but they're adding it.
Musa, I still have the old meters, so I don't even know how that tokens work, so I really have no idea, but thank you so much. I'm that old-fashioned. But I'll go back to Professor. And now, IMF conditions are not entirely new, and some of the measures being demanded are actually already in place to some extent. But the multilateral lender wants more specific action and implementation timelines that the Kenyan government has been committed to enforce. Concrete measures will include completing a draft blueprint that will identify necessary actions and legal reforms to enhance governance, developing an integrated monitoring and reporting system, establishing a performance management monitoring and evaluation framework, and initiating a review of institutional structures, the IMF states. And I think they mentioned a couple of the state corporations targeted for major reforms include Kenya Airways, which we really know requires a lot of reforms right now. It has been recording debt and after debt, and with COVID-19 has not made it any better. And also Kenya Airports Authority absolutely needs reforms, and also Kenya Railways Corporation. Well, it has been doing well with it has been revived, but I think it could do better. Kenya Power, Musa have just complained about it there, and Kenya Electricity Generating Company, KenGen, Ports Authority, and 3 largest public universities. So these are some of government institutions that we've been now seeing having problems and money problems out there, and a lot of corruption there. So they're saying this has to be restructured. Do we need IMF to come and tell us that they've said the 3 largest public universities? I'm assuming University of Nairobi is in there because it has been going through a lot of problems, and other public universities. Do we need IMF to come and tell us to do this? Or these are things that we should have had in mind, have a plan on how to deal with? Professor?
Miriam, let me just give two analogies, Miriam, and then you can be able to understand. If you come to my house, Miriam, and you tell me that you don't have food for your children, in fact, yesterday you slept hungry, the other day you slept hungry, and today there is a likelihood that you're going to sleep hungry, Miriam. Then out of sympathy, Miriam, I'm touched, then I give you some money. Go and buy food. Then I just pass this way, Miriam, I find you are seated in a pub drinking that money. Then tomorrow you come or you think I will give you money? Miriam, I've passed here in town, Miriam, I've found these people who pay. The day they are begging, in the evening they are sitting in the high chair in the pub, Miriam, they are drinking. Tomorrow you pass there, you think you can give money, Miriam? So Miriam, what I'm trying, when I talked about adjustment, Miriam, is this. They started, you privatize this. Telecom, name them, KenGen. At that time, Miriam, when the people of Kenya did not have money, who were able to buy those companies, Miriam? Of course, you understand. Those people who are outside us and those people who have rooted from us, Miriam. Miriam, if you see those kind of personalities which are being put forward, Miriam, then you want to tell you are independent. You are a sovereign country, Miriam. So Miriam, from where I sit, Miriam, there's nothing new that the IMF is telling us, Miriam. There's nothing new. The president has committed himself in saying that all procurement measures, Miriam, they should be in the portal, Miriam, in the website.
But has that been done? Because he said that last year and he's been saying that. Has that been implemented? That is the question.
That's it, Miriam. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Miriam.
Yes.
This is exercise in futility, Miriam. And Miriam, let me tell you for one. I have been reflecting and looking at the life of the late president of Tanzania, John Pombe Magufuli, Miriam. He was committed and he knew what was good for Tanzania, Miriam. Miriam, tomorrow, Musa has said, I don't know whether it's Musa who has said this. Tomorrow, World Bank and the Bretton Woods, and they are going to come with conditions, Miriam, which you are not going to do this. Miriam, you know what they came? They came with structural adjustment programs, Miriam, where they talked about restructuring, Miriam. They talked about engineering, Miriam. They talked about downsizing, Miriam. And the people lost jobs. And as we speak, Miriam, most of those people are in the grave. So, Miriam, I hope my president is listening to me. And if he's listening to me, he must take charge. He has been elected by the people of Kenya, Miriam, to ensure that the good things are done in this country. Miriam, the other day you saw Waruka being hammered, sent to jail. Where is he today? And you tell us that there's a commitment of fighting corruption, Miriam. Miriam, some of these members of parliament who are our leaders, Miriam, and I pity was said that my sister who was trying to say that young people talk about what? It is the content of the character. Youthness has got nothing to do with that. Parliament and even the MCA, even the counter assemblies, even the Senate, we have got youthful members of parliament or the Senate. What kind of work they do? This kind of people, Miriam, they just sign attendance, Miriam, and they don't attend. People who have got an opportunity, Miriam, to register, Miriam. And that's why, Miriam, I agree with my 200 Kenyans, Miriam. They are not doing the right thing, but it is frustrations, Miriam. We cannot go to IMF, Miriam, and get billions of shillings, Miriam, trillions of shillings, Miriam, to come and be taken by a few Kenyans. And I just prayed, and God directed me to go to Kemsa, and Miriam, what was it? So from what I'm trying to tell you, Miriam, we are not going to be lectured by IMF that what we need to do. We have got the neighboring laws, we have got institutions, Miriam. Can we fight, Miriam?
All right.
And Miriam, this is why sometimes I like quoting my Wangari Maathai, Miriam, about the hummingbird and the burning forest, Miriam. The giant animals, Miriam, the lions, the elephant, the giraffe, the big five, they got out of the forest and they were just seeing what has happened. But the hummingbird was going to the river several times to get water and quench. We are blaming the 200 Kenyans that they have written the letter. What have you done? The rest of the 47 million Kenyans.
Okay.
So, Miriam, what we need to do, we should put more pressure to our leaders, Miriam. Even look for these people who are stealing from the people of Kenya, and we take action, Miriam. At least these people are doing something. They have made a statement that, Miriam, things are not being done well. So, Miriam, from where I sit, I cannot sit down and wait for IMF to lecture us this kind of nonsense. If they get away with this, Miriam, you don't know what they are going to say tomorrow. They are going to bring about the lesbianism, gay.
Professor, but that is not an issue for us.
They will tell you don't do this. It is not going to happen, Miriam.
Okay.
Miriam, how I pray that President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the way he told President Barack Obama that is not on top of our agenda.
Yes.
He tells IMF, Miriam, that we have got laws in this country and I'm going to implement.
Very well. Thank you so much.
He directed them, go and do this.
Yeah, and in the matters of sexuality, I'll just reiterate what President Uhuru Kenyatta said. I mean, we have things that, that is not a problem for us. Let people be. All right, so we are joined by Daniel Wesonga. And Daniel Wesonga, very good morning to you.
Yes, very good morning, Miriam Mogutu, our panelist. You can see Washera, Professor Jared Onyari.
All right. Thank you. Sasa, very quickly, because our time is running out, the International Monetary Fund has demanded that all public servants declare their wealth and that the government makes public the ownership details of all companies that are awarded public tenders as a way of curbing rampant theft of taxpayers. They're just echoing what President Uhuru Kenyatta said sometimes back last year after that scandal at KEMSA and the lifestyle audit that he suggested a couple of years ago that was met with a lot of resistance. So will these new conditions that has been set by IMF test President Uhuru Kenyatta's commitment to the fight against corruption? Because we know he has expressed his frustration and he has come out and said, you know what, it is true, we have a problem here. 2 billion is lost every day and this is a problem that we have to deal with. But these new conditions set by IMF, what do you make of them?
Miriam, I think those conditions are so much in order for any lender of the magnitude of the IMF. But it is very hypocritical that the people who are moving around with the petition and are really slinging the nation over the IMF loan are the same people who are fighting the president when he said that every civil servant should take a public audit, a lifestyle audit, to be able to declare their wealth and whatever maybe monies they handle under their jurisdiction. So it is really, really a show of high hypocrisy that these are the same people who have now taken the conversation to the international level, and now it has compelled the IMF to impose these conditions on the government of Kenya. But what I'm waiting for, Miriam, is to see whether now that the IMF has told the government to do so, to bring up the issue of lifestyle audit. I'm now just waiting whether these the same people will be able to take the first line and be able to declare whichever wealth that they hold. And this has been something that and you can see, Miriam, from the excitement from the deputy president, president's allies and supporters. These are the same people who have been stealing monies, public monies. As we're speaking right now, Miriam, we have not recovered the 63 billion which was lost in the Aurora and Kimwarer Dam scandals. We've lost billions through unscrupulous deals that have happened in the office of the deputy president. So therefore, Miriam, they cannot purport to be weeping more than the bereaved in this particular matter. So let's just see how it's going to be. But I believe when push comes to shove, they will be the very first people again to lament when the lifestyle audit will be imposed on all civil servants. Okay. So let them not throw stones when they live in glass houses.
Okay, thank you so much, Edan Lewosonga. So these 9 key loss-making parastatals that have been singled out by IMF, and IMF is saying these 9 key loss-making parastatals that will be overhauled to stem bleeding in public finances, and I've mentioned a few of them there: Kenya Airways, Kenya Airports Authority, Kenya Railways Corporation, Kenya Power, Kenya Electricity. Okay. It's like all of them. And, IMF is saying now there should be an overhaul of some sort in these key parastatals. But this is another 3 public universities, and a few of them we've seen in the public, they've been having some financial problems there. But these are things that we are aware of. So on the flip side, should the government look at this as a challenge, perhaps to and its commitment to the fight against corruption, and also just to ensure good governance and accountability? Should the government take this as a challenge and now and seek to actually address even these 9 parastatals and other government institutions that perhaps are not in this list, to ensure just governance, accountability, public service, transparency in our government institutions, and the fight against corruption? Javen.
Okay, thank you very much, Miriam. And the conversation is good, but I take it as a challenge, Miriam, because when the IMF points out some areas of weakness, the government should ensure that maybe they rectify, they do some things right. Because, Miriam, it's only not IMF that having a problem with this kind of loaning and borrowing. We as Kenyans, Miriam, we want to see that every coin that is borrowed, because we, the taxpayers, we are the one who will service these loans. This is not the government or anybody else. It's us, the taxpayers, who will service these loans. We want to see the loans reflecting in terms of developmental agenda that we have in this country, in terms of infrastructure. This money should be borrowed and redirected and channeled to the right purposes, why we borrowed them in the first place. Therefore, I feel like the IMF has given conditions, but the government should learn a lesson, and especially those parastatals. You know, the problem with KQ, billions of money are channeled to this institution, but in few months' time they are making loss. You know, we need to change the management and to deal with the corruption mercilessly. You know, it reaches a time, Miriam, when we need to act, and the government should ensure these institutions that are losing billions of money annually, that the leadership, the chairman, the executive, everybody should be dealt with, and they should not be making this loss. Somebody should be rotting in jail, so that they learn as an example and they teach others that engaging in this kind of crimes will even deny our country some loans in future if these conditions are put in place, and we are made maybe these terms that we must abide by them and we must rectify things. This should also be an alert that in future we might not be getting these loans, and the government should also take as a challenge that the money that we collect in this country, the revenue that is generated in this country, the KRA should ensure that they generate and no money is lost. They come up with the measures and they are channeled to development. We have a problem with KRA. We have a problem in every institution that handles money in this country. Therefore, we need also in future to learn that we can generate money in our country. We can empower our citizens to be generating more incomes, so that when we go to borrow, they will just be borrowing something to top up what we already have. But Miriam, now what we are generating in the country is too small compared to what we are borrowing. Therefore, we need also to work on our internal revenue generations mechanisms, so that in future, Miriam, will not be borrowing these huge amounts and abandoning the common mwananchi with money that is lost in few people's pockets. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, there's some good news now. For Kenya Airways, the government has committed to hire an independent consultant to audit the airline and find the cheapest way of restructuring it. So that is a good move there by the government of Kenya. And also, IMF termed Kenya's public debt sustainable. So there's no cause for worry. IMF is saying no. Kenya can service this loan, so relax. The outlined reforms, if executed, should ease access to international loans, the IMF saying. So Kenya's within its it's not overboard. So we're still at a very safe parameters in terms of our debt, the international debt, and the loans that you're servicing as a country. But they're saying some of these measures that IMF has suggested, should the government of Kenya implement and execute, that should ease access to international loans. And so my question goes to Douglas Kirimi. Some of these things that has been suggested by IMF, we've seen them and part of the BBI. I think we've looked at what BBI says when it comes to the fight against corruption, and they're saying right now, if you are to even give money in public or donate money in a Harambee or anywhere, you have to declare. If you give more than a certain amount there, you have to declare. So the issue of lifestyle audit, how do you think among the public servants, how do you think this will go in the fight against corruption and public wastage of money?
Thank you, Miriam. One thing I think we need to be able to understand at the end of the day is that there is no thief is scared in this country. Thieves are never scared by anything in this country. A thief would rather steal 200 million and go on to go and do other things and continue appearing at Milimani Law Courts with their lawyers. And then the next day we hear that they are sick of COVID-19. They are in hospital, in Nairobi hospital. They are going to come back again in court some other time. What we need to do in this country is to take serious action against corruption, against people. KQ, today KQ saying that they are going to form an audit. This is a company that is built by government every year.
The government is the one which has committed to hire an independent consultant, not KQ, is the government.
This is a pretense, Miriam. This is pretense. Government itself knows very well what happens at KQ,
and the government keeps pumping money here, Miriam. There is no one, including me. I cannot keep pumping my salary in my family.
It is the
when
pride
I
of
know
Africa.
I cannot get
Come
anything.
on, Douglas.
Miriam, every year we are having problems at KQ. Common people know that next year, which are 2022, we shall have a financial loss at KQ. What we are having in this country is pretense as far as these parastatals are concerned, as far as for the fight against corruption is concerned. And BBI will not be the only antidote to these corruption issues. We need to be able to be very strict on corruption, Miriam. The people of Arol, today, it is raining, it is in April. The people of Arol keep waiting for their 2 mega dams. Miriam, people of Dwake keep waiting for their I Mutpapas dam. People in this country, people in West Pokot, in Kamarin, which William Ruto said it is historic. In 6 months, they are going to have their multi-billion stadium. They are not having the same. People are having problems in this country, Miriam, because of these mega corruption scandals, and we need to be able. We can even form a death squad. We can have extrajudicial means of dealing with the corruption in this country, Miriam, because we are having a problem. If we continue using the law as it is today, we need to be able to come up with strict laws on corruption, especially these mega corruption cases, Miriam. For example, today the people of Arol keep waiting for their dams. The man that is to the Arol and Kimwarel dams keeps waving the Bible as a word of magic to the problems of the people of Kenya. And the people of Arol and Kimwale keep waiting for these dams, Miriam. It hurts my heart. It saddens my heart when these people in this country, Miriam, continue masquerading around. We need to do an audit today. Over 112 million is lost at the Ministry of Education through dubious secondary schools, Miriam, and through dubious students, Miriam. And we know very well corruption is an issue in this country. We need to be able to come out clearly and deal with these issues. The people of Kimwarel and Arol continue waiting for these dams. The man that hit their dams bought choppers, built hotels, and continues masquerading around as a presidential candidate. Miriam, the hypocrisy around mega corruption scandals in this country should stop so that this country can move forward. KQ today, Miriam, the government can form any audit they want. They can form even 20 or 30 audits, independent auditors, but there is nothing that is going to happen until strict issues, strict measures are taken to be able to deal with these issues, Miriam. Right. For example, Miriam, when money is lost in Tharaka Nithi County because of an incinerator, the governor that put that money to be 34 million still looms around saying you want another time in 2022 to continue the franchising and stealing from the people of Tharaka Nithi. Before I conclude, Miriam, in Turkana County, they have received over 100 billion from government, national government. Today, the people are suffering because of anger. They are dying because they lack water, because that money has been stolen. In Samburu County, the same case, Miriam. We need stricter ways of dealing with the corruption in this country and deal with it decisively like we mean it, because, Miriam, there is no amount of legislation, there is no amount of threat, there is no amount of IMF strict conditions that can be able to deal with the corruption in this country until we shoot a corrupt individual, until we take them to prison. Because, Miriam, I'm more likely to go to prison when I steal a chicken than a billionaire who stole the Arora and Kimwale 21 billion. He has been able to eat everything. Miriam, there is nothing left. The people of Kimwale can forget their dams. There is no money that is coming back, Miriam. Okay. This corruption should be dealt with a populist stand, because, Miriam, the law in Kenya is not working for the corrupt people. The law in Kenya is not working for these corrupt individuals, Miriam. We need more action. We need to kill these people, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much. And I think even for those Kenyans who signed that petition, I think corruption was the key thing there. They mentioned and they expressed their frustration with that. Washera, what we've seen President Uhuru Kenyatta expressing his concern on corruption, coming out and acknowledging it is a problem, which I think that was very big of him, because a lot of leaders will just like to run around it. But he came out and he acknowledged this is a problem and this is how much money we lose every day and it's a shame. So how then now can perhaps the government address seriously? We know it has been captured in the BBI, the implementation factor that Douglas has mentioned and Javen has mentioned, and also Professor. It's good on paper, but how can we implement this to ensure that Kenyans have confidence? Even the next time they hear the government is going out to borrow, they'll be like, you know what, makes sense, because we see this money will do this and this, and the fight against corruption.
Thank you, Miriam, for asking me specifically about Uhuru Kenyatta, because I wanted to say something about him. I feel like I've been thinking about it. I feel like Uhuru is being betrayed by his own people, the people behind him. I feel like he's been given a lot of pressure. He's been blamed a lot for everything. And I think he's doing a lot. I think the people who are to blame for all this are the people behind him. Nobody has come out to say kudos, or nobody is even understanding him. Everything is his blame.
But Washera, you understand Kenyans don't really care about the people behind him. Kenyans are thinking, you are the president, the buck stops with you.
Yeah,
so he takes the blame even when he's not wrong, but he will take the blame. You understand that?
Yes. Also, now this is for our president. He should not listen to the wrong advices or be lenient to anyone, because I feel like the reason why he's not punishing these people who are corrupted or actually putting them in jail or killing them, as Douglas is saying, is because, he's trying to be the president, a good dad, a good example, you get. I feel like what I wanted to say is that I totally support our president. You have no idea. I totally do support him. And I feel like he should just breathe in and out and just decide, you know what, enough is enough. I've had enough of this nonsense. I've had enough of the excuses that these people are giving for, to get out of these corruption cases. He should make sure, as like last time we discussed, where the ministries he should see how everything is being put to work. He should make sure the judiciary is doing its part. It's not about that if someone has a court case, they're sick with COVID. No, they should make sure that person is actually sick. Or, it depends on how complicated the case is. As Douglas said, you can be arrested in Kenya for many years for stealing chicken, but someone who stole billions is still seated somewhere in their office, having the time of their lives and saying, I'll deal with that, I'll deal with the lawyers. It's not fair for other sisi wenye tuko huku chini, us citizens who are down here struggling every day, going to work, trying to feed our own children, it's not fair at all. So he should get down to business. It's high time that happens.
All right, Washera. So thank you so much, Washera. So what I hear you to be saying is we do have a problem, and I think that has been noted also before. Even the former CJ Maraga said, yes, there are a few judges in this judiciary that are rotten, and sometimes the wheel of justice is rolling too slowly. And so we do have a problem with our criminal justice system, and I think a bit of that is addressed in the PBI. I don't know if they've fully captured efficient ways in which our judiciary should operate to make sure that a lot of these cases involving corruption are actually dealt with, as they should. So I agree with you what you're saying there. Our criminal justice system has a bit of a leeway there, so they just get away. Like Professor asked there, where is Waluke right now? Professor, it's raining. Anapanda mahindi nyumbani, okay? Musa Abdi.
Thank you, Miriam. And the other day, Miriam, Tanzanians said, I quote them in Kiswahili, ukitaka kuona magari ya kila aina, magari ambayo yote yametengenezwa duniani, mazuri, mabaya, yote, haufai kwenda Uingereza, haufai kwenda Marekani, unafaa tu kwenda Nairobi, utakuwa unajionea magari yote. End of the quote. Miriam, we ridicule Tanzanians every time. We tell them, they are socialists, they are downtrodden. Miriam, the other day, Prime Minister Majaliwa, he visited the Geita district, and especially Chato area where President Magufuli hails from. And he saw the district officer there, the area in charge. I don't know, they call the wakilishi wa Chama cha Mapinduzi there, driving in V8. And Prime Minister Majaliwa directed the officers in charge of corruption to go and do the audit of that person. They told him, sisi tunakulipa shilingi 1,100 kwa mwezi. Gari la V8 umetoa wapi? They impounded that V8, Miriam, and everything was solved on the spot. One of the solutions I've ever been suggesting, and Professor Onyari as a churchman, as a God man will agree with me, EACC is overstretched. Why can't you decentralize EACC, whereby we have county anti-corruption office. Leave alone this one in Nairobi, this one regional. We have county, whereby people who understand the dynamics of leadership in that county, Miriam, they are put into task so that we solve corruption cases the way Tanzania is doing. By the Magufuli, when he was alive, he was not handling the cases for madiwani or wabunge. Mbunge akipatikana na corruption, usually a mega one, they are called to the National Court of Takaruru or Takawuru. But the madiwani, the regional, the local ones, they are being executed at a district level. Do we have that one in Kenya? EACC is handling parastatal corruption cases, government corruption cases, intelligence corruption cases. I think we are finding ourselves, Miriam, in a very tough situation as far as EACC is concerned. And now going to this IMF, Miriam, you know, the reason why I did my research and I saw it was indeed the pride of Africa when Mwai Kibaki was the president. Kenya Power was functioning. Kenya Airways, they were good. The KenGen, actually, it came about during his time very strongly. Miriam, the only difference Mwai Kibaki did, Mwai Kibaki told these guys, he was an economist and he knew how money was being stolen. So he had to, without the request of, IMF, Mwai Kibaki had to do one thing. He had to put the finance docket, Miriam, in his office, under his management. I still wonder when I travel from Nairobi, Miriam, up to the Great North Road to Moyale, and I wonder how that Great Road was built at a tune of 120 billion. That road which is just, up to now, the maintenance which was done was just a year ago, Miriam. And when IMF, they are telling me the debt level in Kenya is sustainable, Miriam, they are lying. Miriam, I have studied neocolonial books, Miriam. Why is it that they are not saying Kenyan debt level is safe? That is the time we will be relieved. When Mzungu tells you something is sustainable, he or she is telling you it is bad, but we can make it good. And Miriam, the level at which, read the trajectory, the level at which, we left at Mwai Kibaki 1.35 trillion. Miriam, we are now speaking 9. I don't know how to draw that graph. And I might not blame President Uhuru Kenyatta for this. I will blame the over-ambitious ministries and the agenda set in place by the executive. Miriam, Vision 2030 was there. It was progressing very harmoniously. Professor will agree with me. Instead of misadvising the president and bringing Big Four agenda and other avenues, if indeed this government and this executive could have relied on socio-economic pillar, environmental pillar, social pillar, Miriam, and industrial pillar of Vision 2030, we could have reached somewhere, Miriam. Projects are stagnating. Do not blame the president for this. There comes a time, Miriam, yes, he is not guilty as per se, but in ethics, he is responsible. You might not be guilty of stealing the funds. You might not be guilty of the corruption, but you are responsible because Article 1 of the Kenyan Constitution has endowed the supremacy of the Constitution, which shall be exercised by the people on you. You are the sovereign head. You are the symbol of national unity. That is where we should be getting it right, Miriam. And if today, look at what they are now doing in Ethiopia. Ethiopia faulted American loan and those borrowings. Miriam, I'm afraid, but it shall come a time when IMF shall be so comfortable that they shall push for what we call regime change. They have done it in Burkina Faso. They have done it in Cote d'Ivoire. They have done it in Democratic Republic of Congo, Miriam. These are some of the things Professor Onyari spoke about as far as this is concerned.
All right.
So my humble submission, Miriam, just to submit, is that when the boat sinks, when the accident happens, you cannot blame the driver. Maybe you blame the passenger for not informing the driver that there was a puncture and you saw it. And so we should be taking the responsibility as a whole here, wholesomely. Do not blame President Uhuru Kenyatta. Sometimes I see innocence in the man when he spoke about and he was frustrated when he said 2 billion are stolen every day. I don't see some sense of anger there. I see some sense of frustration and innocence. So Miriam, that is my submission, and I hope those conditionalities by IMF, they are not coming out of miracle. They are not miraculous. It is as a result of what we did for the past 10 years, Miriam.
Okay.
I submit.
Thank you so much, Musa. And just for your information, Musa, EACC does have a couple of offices across the country. There's an office in Bungoma region and also Upper Coastal Regional Office, which is based in Malindi, Lower Coastal Regional Office in Mombasa, Upper Eastern Regional Office in Isiolo, Northeastern
Miriam,
Regional
I'm not speaking
Office
about these regional
in
offices.
Garissa,
Regional
Central
offices are
Regional
totally
Office in
full.
Nyeri, South Nyanza Regional Office in Kisii, and South Reef Regional Office in Nakuru, among others. I was just
Regional
trying to say
offices
that
are-
EACC is not only in
regional
Nairobi.
offices are- Regional offices are toothless bulldog, Miriam. They
All right.
should devolve it at a county place. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I hear you, Musa. Daniel Wesonga, as we conclude. Musa saying there that perhaps the Jubilee government has been over-ambitious with some of the projects and the things that President Uhuru Kenyatta was set out to leave as his legacy. And we've seen a lot of stalling of some mega projects. And I think, which loan did we take that also spelled out some conditions? And it said the government should not start any new projects. Let's first complete the ones that we have had. We have started. Yeah.
Yes, Miriam, on my view, I think we've not been over-ambitious. President Uhuru Kenyatta had a track on a project that he wanted to leave as his legacy. But where the point of departure now, where we have a conflict on how to complete this project, is where now his principal assistant, the deputy president, has become a rogue deputy president. Other than just not showing a goodwill and maybe supporting his boss, he has been using all kind of sabotage to ensure that these projects do not come to fruition. You've seen a lot of billions of shillings being looted. You've seen his allies actually just launching an onslaught on the projects that are being done by the government of the day. So I think whatever has been lacking is the goodwill from the deputy president. And remember, as per the 2010 constitution, the office of the deputy president and that of the president are merged into one, which is known now as the presidency. So there's no way you could actually do away with the deputy president in as much as he's being saboteur in his own government. So therefore, I think this has been one derailing factor. And of course, you've seen the moment President Uhuru Kenyatta has had the handshake between himself and the former prime minister. We've seen a relative period of growth. We've seen the economy picking up and things have been quite in the right direction. So to me, I think it is not all about having the wrong priorities. The government has the right priorities. When you look at the project like the SGR, when you look at the other projects that have been happening in the port of Mombasa, we've seen here in Nairobi a number of projects coming up. So we are on track, but one thing that is not there is the political goodwill, and that has to emanate from the office of the deputy president. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. Professor, end it for us.
Yeah, Miriam, let me just have this to say, and I have a point of departure with Daniel Wesonga. He's talking about the standard gauge railway. Fine, it's good. It's a good project, Miriam. There is one which has been built in Tanzania and another one in Ethiopia. Can you compare the costs? Can you contrast and realize this? When we say that corruption is an issue, Miriam, we mean it. And we should all fight it. And Miriam, when we are recommending Miriam, are we asking for too much and saying that, Miriam, let us finish the project which we have begun, Miriam, and then we start a new one? Because when you start a new project, Miriam, that's when you are going to get 10% kickback. So an existing project, Miriam, there is no 10%. So, Miriam, what we are trying to say is this. President Uhuru Muigai has done extremely very well. But much is expected from him. He is the CEO of the country. He is the chief in commander, Miriam. We cannot go to ask anybody else whether he's deputy or what. He is in charge, Miriam. And that's why sometimes I like his father. He's one of the great man and hero I respect, Miriam. Halikuwa anasema Miriam, wewe enda kuiba tu, lakini ukipatikana ujue sheria iko, Miriam. And you will go in jail, whether you are his friend or not. So Miriam, the starting point here, Miriam. And that's what Wachira was trying to say, that the people who are surrounding around the president, Miriam, He should start dealing with those ones, Miriam, if you want to change this country, Miriam. The moment he will send one of his friends in, he will be sending a message. He once said that Miriam, that one gave us the impetus that saying that he's doing something good. He said, Mambo ya Sukari, what I was saying that it is about this brother involved. He said, come, even if you are my own brother, come umefunja Sharia will deal with you. Can that one, Miriam, be implemented? Because that is a phenomenal and a huge statement, Miriam. We are not going to fight corruption by lip service, Miriam. And when Musa is trying to say, Miriam, that we develop those anti-corruption officers, he means well. You have been seeing someone committing a crime in Turkana is being brought to Nairobi, Miriam. Where are the witnesses, Miriam? They are in Turkana. Miriam, this is how they do it, Miriam. You spend 5 days, Miriam, to be in Nairobi so that you become a witness, Miriam. The point I'm trying to say, Miriam, to say is this. May we team up, Miriam, and fight corruption, Miriam. Miriam, I hate corruption. I detest corruption, Miriam. And one of the things you are not saying here, Miriam, is this. Do you know that Kenya is the highly taxed country in the country? We are highly taxed. Where does our money go? And we have to be taxed, Miriam, simply because the money which we get in terms of loan, we steal. And we have to pay back, Miriam. It is totally unacceptable, Miriam. And I don't know whether we are having economist people in this country, Miriam. Planners of this country, Miriam. I just tell you we were discussing, Miriam, about morality, which Dr. Masanga was trying to say in Eda's memo. Morality, Miriam, the conscience of the people in this country died long time ago. You pay 1.2 trillion in terms of debt and you say you are running a country, Miriam. We have already mortgaged this country, Miriam, for many years. Our children will come to ask what were Miriam, where did you take the money to? So what we want to do, Miriam, here is IMF is not asking for too much. You have asked for it. Because if they ask you money, you want to go fix a standard gauge railway, do it. Fix a dam, do it. Build a road, do it. Miriam, are you not even getting annoyed? We just do it best way. That the whole people in the Ministry of Education, Miriam, can just go and open a school in Bungoma like the one you were trying to say, Miriam. And you save on billions and billions of things, Miriam. And you know what, Miriam?
Thank you so much.
Nothing will be done against those people, Miriam.
We have to
The starting point here, Miriam, Washera, Kirimi, Musa,
yes,
Daniel, Javan, take charge of your country.
Thank you so
the
much.
The image you always see you in social media, I don't know what you discuss. May you take that image to converse among us ourselves on how we have to fight corruption.
All right. Thank you so
much. It will
much.
not be fought by the president himself alone. It must be fought by all of us.
All of us
are
responsible.
For us to demand money which is borrowed, that it does the right thing. I submit, Miriam.
Thank you so much. And you wonder what they do on Twitter because they tweeted so much, and IMF conditions are not entirely new. And the statement was released on a day when an online petition asking the IMF to withhold the latest loan until the Kenya government addressed runaway corruption. So maybe their voices were heard. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Good Morning Africa. I'm Miriam Mugutu, and we shall be back. Don't go too far.